What's up, team, and welcome to the Kaisa Show. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I really like this outfit you're sporting today.
Thank you. It's compliments of...
Team, if you can't see, if you're not watching this, he is wearing an electric blue Just Move sweatshirt.
It's a royal blue.
Royal. Now, don't get excited right now because we actually are not releasing this.
Yeah, this is limited one-off.
One
it's
of
actually
one.
just one, which I might throw this up on eBay, actually. We'll see.
Do it. We're just still testing apparel, so don't get too excited. We will hopefully release them soon.
Yeah, but this was part of my Just Move hat that some of you may have seen that we've talked about. That this actually I learned. I thought only the hat came out of the run as successful, but it's a little faded.
Yeah,
but I think I'll wear this.
I like that for you.
Yeah, more than just once.
It's a good color.
Yeah,
for those blue eyes.
Thank you. That's always. My eyes tend to kind of match what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
And I have those kind of chameleon eyes.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. If I wear green, they kind of look more green.
Well,
if it's kind of a hazy day, it look kind of gray.
I almost started singing, what is Billie Eilish's Blue Eyes? Isn't that a song?
Never heard of it.
God, good thing I didn't sing.
I need to put that on the list. I don't listen to Billie Eilish. I don't even know. I couldn't even name a song.
Oh, hers is Ocean Eyes, not Blue Eyes. Oh, that's close.
Ocean Eyes?
Da-na.
No, go. Let's roll it out. Go ahead. Da-na. Name that tune. That's like Hurdle. You only get the first half second. Can you guess that tune? Oh, that's God. Billie Eilish, Ocean Eyes.
Okay. No, I can't sing.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't honestly know the rest.
What it reminds me of is, what is that?
See?
Oh, no, it's not Ocean Eyes. It's like an old song. Hungry Eyes. That's what I thought you were. Hungry Eyes. Is it Hungry Eyes? Actually, no, that doesn't sound right. Hungry Eyes.
Okay, you know what, team? Moving on. You got blue eyes. Now let's head into what's buzzin'.
Now it's time for what's buzzin'. What's a buzzin', bub?
What are you buzzing on?
I'm so glad you asked. I am buzzing on this week true classic tees.
What?
As a man who's been wearing t-shirts for many years, I've been always in search of the perfect tee. And tees come at a price. A good tee is not always affordable, and an affordable tee is not always good. I feel like with true classic tees, I might have found the answer.
Did they just pay you to do this?
No, I was just practicing, seeing if I ever were to get sponsored by True Classic Tees, that's what it might sound like. And so, anyways, no, real talk though. Like I just wear t-shirts. It's what I wear, and I like black, and I want to get a white. I like white, right? And a couple colors here and there.
Whoa, you are wild.
No, I'm not wild. I'm keeping it simple because it's a classic look. You know, you catch me 10 years ago, I look the same.
Thing. Same thing. Okay, so is True Classic Tees, that sounds like some hardware supply store. Is that
that's kind of cool.
Is that like what they are?
No. They just make classic tees. Now they're making pants and stuff too. But
is it $100 t-shirt?
No, see, that's what I'm saying. So I got 3 tees for like $56. That's a really good deal, right? That's like $18 or something a shirt. But they're higher quality because then I bought some other ones. You wash them once, they're like thin, they've shrank, whatever. And the True Classic tees, many different colors and a little thicker, and they're a tad long, a little, just a little bit. So then they shrink around 5%, they tell you. And then I feel like it's perfect fit. So I have 3 of them. I'm getting rid of, I threw out a bunch of tees yesterday because I'm ready to refresh the closet with True Classic tees.
How many times have you said their name?
I do not know.
Tag them every time. Okay, but speaking of men, like a really good fitting t-shirt is just chef's kiss on men. So I do understand this. Recently, my brother-in-law, Dan, so he was getting his shirts because I was like, damn, those look, damn, Dan.
That's some nice shirts, man.
Yes, and they were from Madewell. So that's another thing that Madewell is doing.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's I think it was initially women's clothing.
Oh, okay.
But they looked so nice, a crisp,
How much are
nice. Not very much, but I don't know. But
Okay.
that was one thing he said was I've been looking for nice T-shirts that don't cost $1 million. So I'm not quite sure if they were 18.
I'll have
but
to check. No, I mean,
yeah.
I would pay more. And I have to give shout out to Aloe because I had their T-shirts for a long time and they make good T-shirts, but they're like expensive. The only reason why I got them was because I had
They're free.
the homie discount.
Yeah.
I was getting like 60
Free
or 70% off, but I'm not spending like 50, 60 bucks on a T-shirt. It's just not happening. It's too much.
I don't think Dan would either. So you should check out Madewell.
I need to hit Dan up. Dan the
Hit
man.
Dan up.
All
Dan the
right.
man.
Yeah, anyway, so trueclassictees.com. Go ahead and use the promo code Podcast Mike in the checkout.
For $0 off, team. Don't get people hyped.
Hey,
Mike doesn't have a
Whatever.
code yet, people.
I just like to act like an influencer. It's kind of
Then
fun.
you're gonna get all these. You are an influencer. You're influencing people.
Yeah.
You're gonna get them to go over there and shop, and they're gonna be very disappointed
When they don't
by
get
your
a
lack of
discount.
a code.
Yeah. Hey, it's no accountability because I get no payment. So,
All right. Glad you found your.
what are
perfect
you
tee.
buzzing on?
Well, speaking of finding things mine's not really apparel, but for how we look. I am always searching for jewelry. This is like a no-brainer for Kaisa, but one jewelry accessory that's hard to find that like looks cool and fits well is anklets.
I like how you added a little suspense, like a pause for a moment. Is anklets.
I wanted
There was
to show.
no delay. You got to leave a little
Oh,
bit more
sorry.
space. You're like, is anklets. I think like a 3-second. That was good though. That was fun.
I was so excited.
Let's see it again.
Okay, so this
Anklets.
is, if you're not watching this, you can't see, but this is almost like a thick Cuban link anklet. And the brand
Like
is
Cuban Link, like the hip hop band.
Yeah.
Or group?
Oh no,
Cuban Links. Wasn't
Cuban
that-
links.
Is that what you're referring to, or is this like a style of
No,
chain?
this is a style of chain. It's a Cuban link chain.
So that's why they were called Cuban Links.
Dun, dun, dun,
That's
dun.
kind of fun. Okay.
God, I never
Learning
blow your
something.
mind. I'm blowing your
Nothing.
mind. The brand is called Jenny Bird.
Jenny Bird.
Yeah, and oddly, she didn't get the Jenny Bird on Instagram. It's like _ Jenny Bird, but she's a real
God.
brand.
sucks.
They're not cheap. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. What are we looking at? People are going to go online. They're going to see it anyway. So let's just be honest. What's that anklet running?
Hell,
Okay, we'll play a game since you don't
no,
want
I
to just
don't.
come
I don't
out.
remember. It was probably $100.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah. No.
I was
no.
going to start with less than 500.
Oh yeah. No.
See,
Also,
you
for
walk
me,
around with this kind of bougie vibe.
I'm not bougie. I'm thrifty.
I know, but I'm saying you look bougie. So you
you.
have a bougie vibe, but it's bougie on a budget. I think we've talked about this
Yeah.
before. Okay, $100, that's not bad at all.
Oh, okay. Cool.
What did I do? I bought this fucking... This brace is like the first like accessory I've bought. This is like $60 and it's like a shoelace with some metal.
Okay, I
You've got
feel
straight
so-
up gold.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, it's not. It's like
It's
gold
plated.
dipped or
Whatever.
something. Yeah, vermeil or
it's
whatever
not
it
a
is.
shoelace.
Well, honestly, I feel so good. Sometimes I feel out of touch, and all of a sudden you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, some things
So-
are, but that's wow.
Yeah. No, where I can save money, I save money.
Okay.
Yeah. On this, also anklets are one of those things that you hit your fucking leg the wrong way and the
Yeah.
thing pops off. I have broken so many that I don't want. Like that's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
These are real.
Fucking, your arm will fall off before those
yeah,
do.
for real.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Jenny Bird.
Jenny, what's her story? Does she have a
Oh,
story?
I don't know anything about her.
Oh, it sounds very
Yeah.
like,
No, I'm just
I don't know if
always
she was like cousin of Sue or,
super. Oh!
I don't know,
I didn't even put that together.
something.
Oh my God, I gotta drink some more energy.
Yeah.
I don't think she's the cousin of Sue. I just found her I get advertised because I'm probably always looking for like anklet. I'm always
Yeah.
looking for accessories.
For something.
I'm always looking for something.
To change your life.
Fill this void.
Yeah,
That's so
Aren't we
sad.
all?
Well, so I'm filling my void with
Yeah.
gold jewelry.
And I'm doing it with t-shirts.
Yeah.
And if you out there are feeling sad and in need of some retail therapy, check out Jenny Bird _Jenny Bird on Instagram and
No
True Classic
code.
Tees.
No
No codes
code.
for either, but pure retail therapy bliss.
Bliss for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, now
I just wanted to do that because it felt right.
Feels like we need to shake up this energy right now. All right. What are we diving
today
into?
we're trying something a little different.
Oh.
We are going to talk about start moving.
Wait, I have to pause. I love that this is called, our show is so falsely advertised as the Kaisa Show. This is really the Mike Show. Do you like how I just asked you, what are we doing?
Yeah,
I'm like, what are we doing today?
See, but what the people don't know is that behind the scenes, you're like, Mike, this is what we're doing. And when I ask you what we're doing today, you act like I don't have any clue because that's the shtick. Everyone knows. The cat's out of the bag.
Team, that's not true. I have an idea of what we're talking about, but Mike has all of the questions, the concerns.
That's true.
Why am I overheating?
I don't know, because you're nervous, because you're being put on blast.
I know. Okay.
Very cool. So let's try that again. That's our transition.
Speaking of blast.
So start moving. So some of you
you didn't even announce it. Like you just went past it. Like
no, I am. That's what I was doing. So start moving, and then I was going to talk about start moving. Okay. God, we got to try it again. All right. So today, folks, we are talking about start moving. Start moving, as some of you may or may not know, is basically it's a separate company than Just Move. Recently split them into two.
Yeah.
So you have Just Move, which is, well, let's just do the pitch.
Yeah.
What's Just Move, Kaisa?
Well, so Just Move is now our subscription platform for beginner, intermediate, and advanced movers that love to move at home without the pressure of weight loss. That's really what Just Move is about. Fun, creative, at-home workouts. I think we are the best of the best at that. We have the best coaches. That's what Just Move is. We actually still have start moving level workouts inside of there. Mm-hmm. But for me as a coach and a trainer, what I really realized was I wanted to have, if I want to have movement for everyone, I have to really also focus on having appropriate movement levels. And so beginner quite often isn't actually beginner enough for people who are just starting their movement journey. And so that's why inside of Just Move, we initially created the start level, and then that became like its own thing. We had Start Moving as products inside there, not products, programs inside of there. And then in the summer, it branched out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Do you want me to tell you why?
No, we'll get into it. So separate in why. I guess let's get into like why separate it out.
Yeah. So for me, the reality of the situation is that a lot of fitness companies and wellness companies in general talk to what I consider the 10% of the population that is into movement already. And that means there's 90% of the population that's not moving or not in some type of a guided movement, which means we're not doing our job. Like I've always felt very strongly of helping people start their movement journey by doing a better job of meeting them where they're at. And so that start level was really to acknowledge and understand that for people who are just getting started, haven't moved in a long time, and or are injured, to jump into a beginner workout doesn't feel safe or welcoming for them or their body. And so that's where Start Moving was developed. When it was inside of Just Move as a level, I think the human being that feels as though they are a start mover is overwhelmed by being inside of the Just Move library. And I think that was a really important thing to recognize and acknowledge, which is why we ended up separating it out. So Start Moving will launch soon as its own app. Because the human that is just starting their movement journey deserves to be all encompassed in that and feel like they belong to a community that is, solely that, and they feel supported and seen there.
Yeah. I really, for me, it clicked so much, the visual, where I was like, if Just Move was a gym, was like a brick and mortar gym right now, it's probably pretty comfortable for the beginner and the intermediate advanced mover. But then I was thinking and there's some start stuff too. There's for the people who never have moved before, maybe you're kind of not feeling great and injured. There's a little corner over there for you. You got to walk by all these folks that are moving and grooving and then find your little corner and, and hope that a few people show up. It was so visual to me. It was it makes sense. If you had the entire spot, or 2 gyms, right? And like one is start from the moment you walk in, you're greeted differently. The colors you see are different. The music that's playing is different. Everything is different than it is for the intermediate or, the different mover.
And the message that gets you excited about even coming in and taking a step in there feels welcoming and feels like you're seen there. And I think that was a great way to break it down. That's exactly what Start Moving is all about. And then it's going to evolve from there. I think one of the main things too is to recognize that people who are not moving a lot of times are in pain as well. So that's a really important focus for us in the Start Moving app, is to have pain relief. And just to have safety and for people to feel like they can safely move is huge. Like we have a chair as support for almost all of our workouts. Like we're just really thoughtful about how we coach people through these movements and what we're asking them to do. And also having education as a really big backbone for what we do, because the point is for you to use movement to become empowered in your body, which means you have to learn about your body. We don't assume that you know. We don't assume that you know what a squat or a lunge or a hinge or a pull or anything is. We assume that you haven't moved, you haven't heard these words, and we're going to educate you about what they mean, what they feel like in your body, so that you can go out and do whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to stay with us forever, but maybe you want to go do other things. And like, that's really the point of Start Moving.
Yeah. So let's get into, what differentiates Start from, say, a lot of the other things out there? Like, I mean, we know there's not a lot out there, but let's say even just from beginner, when we see a normal beginner, or even what Just Moves beginner is like, why is Start different?
Yeah. So I would say the Start level truly acknowledges that you have never moved before, or it was a long time ago, and you're probably in pain or slightly uncomfortable in your body. And so that is a really important standpoint, because it's important to set up a safe environment. Almost always we will have a chair there so that you feel supported at any point in time. I do not ask that you get up and down in workouts. That's a workout in and of itself. So if we're going to do...
From the ground. You may get up and down off the chair.
Yes, from the ground. So if we're going to do a workout that's solely core and we're on the floor, like we just spend one moment getting down, we do the workout down there. We do seated workouts, a lot of seated workouts. We do standing workouts again with the support of the chair. And the whole goal is to have movement be this really fun and exciting space that has met you where you're at and then helps you grow. And I think like that was really the downfall that the fitness industry was at, is like we're not meeting the majority of people where they're at. And that doesn't mean they're any less than. Like, you shouldn't have to be a beginner to start your movement journey. Like, we should be able to create true beginner workouts that are meeting you exactly where you're at, that are honoring the fact that you might be uncomfortable in your body. You might be in pain. You might not have any idea about the names of movements. And that's quite all right. Mm-hmm. Like, you are the majority of people as well. And just because you don't know that doesn't mean you don't deserve to move. And so that is the goal of Start Moving. And my personal goal with it is that people that are not moving feel seen and heard and feel like they have a safe space to come and move and be a part of a community.
In a lot of what's cool is that instead of avoiding things, say like rows or burpees or shoulder press, things that you normally wouldn't introduce to a pre-beginner, you just do it with no weight, so that like, you know, doing a row, like learn that's what a row is. These are the cues that you're supposed to be thinking of when you're rowing. You don't have any weight. So there's like zero risk of like injuring or anything like that. You're literally just creating like movement patterns. And the idea that these folks get to then have that knowledge. So if they made it to a beginner level, or, you know, if they wanted to grow out of that start, they're familiar. They've already had these patterns. Here's squatting, but with a chair.
1,000%. Yeah. Amen. Like, we do really fun things. Like, we do rope slams with no rope, but you're learning the pattern of what would be like from the moment that you hop into a gym and you do grab a rope. We learn kettlebell swings with no kettlebell. We learn how to do ladder drills with no ladder. It's all patterns. Like, movement can be broken down into to a handful of patterns. So if you understand what they are and how they feel in your body, anything is possible. But the thing is, if you have never built that foundation, then at some point in time, you're going to get to a sticky place and you're going to overdo something and become injured. You're going to overtrain and not understand how you should have pulled back. So that's really where it is. It's like, it's giving people the tools to understand their body to go and do whatever they want to do.
It's really giving them a place to start.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hence why I named it that.
A safe space to
Yeah.
start.
And it's like you're building that foundation, and wherever they want to go, like something that I'm learning, and I haven't like fully fleshed this out, but it's like all these like readings about like longevity and whatnot. You don't hear about people like working out like per se. It's people staying active, which is like gardening, walking, whatever that is, right? And so the way I have started to like, because I'm thinking it's like my parents' age or, you know, I age, and I start thinking about how to just age gracefully, you know, like how do you age and how do you move more? And it's not, I think so many people are convinced that because of messaging that like, if I'm not working out hard for an hour a day, no matter what age or shape I'm in, I'm failing.
Yeah, no.
And it's not the case, you know, and for start, you may go to start and stay in start. And that's an amazing place because you're moving. That's the point. Then you have a foundation. If you want to grow and you want to continue to challenge yourself and that's the path you feel is good, you can move on and move up and you know how to because you started with good, solid foundation.
Yeah, but not only that, the thing about the human body is you are moving throughout your day.
Yeah.
Whether or not you know it, you are lunging, you are squatting. You know, you squat when you go to the bathroom, like you are walking, like you're doing single leg patterns. And injury is bound to happen if you're not thoughtful about what you're doing or if you haven't trained a mechanic like correctly. And so I think that's a lot of what start is too. It's not, you don't need to be in the gym 24/7, but you do need to understand how to properly move in your body because as you get older and you start to squat, you don't want to develop like compensatory patterns, you know what I mean? Or if you like to be in your garden, you know, on your knees guarding, you want to understand how to get down there, how things feel. Like those are all things that are very applicable. They're movement patterns that you need to learn for everyday life. And that's really what start is about as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I guess what would you say is the goal what would you say the goal is? Is it for them to graduate?
No.
It's okay.
Absolutely not. No, I don't think there's any graduation needed. Like the goal for Start Moving is for you to get into again, I keep saying like a safe space and community for you to learn about movement, for you to constantly use us as a resource and a tool, depending on who you are. Maybe you've learned about your body and you come back weekly for a mobility class. You know, maybe you come back daily because you love the accountability there. Maybe you just learn about patterns and you take them into other things that you want to do. Maybe you've healed an injury because, you know, you've gone through a lot of our movement and you've recognized certain things that needed to be mobilized or worked on, and then you've moved on to other things. Like maybe you decide to go into, you know, riding bikes and running. I don't know, but like our goal is that you've started your movement journey and that we will always be here for you depending on where you're at. That could be for life. That could be as you dip in and out. That could be as your warm-ups. That could be as your 5-minute breaks. Like one of the really exciting things about Start Moving is that we focused on time being an issue for a lot of people, and we have tons of 5-minute workouts. Like we are here for anything that you need, and we're going to be constantly evolving to keep serving you.
And what's the idea behind 5 minutes?
The goal behind 5 minutes is that anything is better than nothing, and that the biggest goal for us is for you to start a habit, and then for you to understand, like I always say this, but bodies are meant to move. So when you start moving, there's this thing that kind of wakes up in your body where you're like, oh, like that feels really good. I have a little bit more energy. Like, wow, I'm a little bit less achy and in pain. And then you're going to crave to move more. And that's really the goal. But like for me to start with something that's very doable, we have 5-minute workouts seated. You don't even have to stand up. So really the goal is for people to create a habit and stay dedicated to a daily movement routine and then stay there or move on from there and add more as they're ready.
Yeah. What happens if all this works?
For me personally or for them?
For the world. Like what happened? Like, so this is obviously like we believe that this is like
Life-changing.
An untapped thing, right? There's 90% you like to say.
Yeah. I think this is going to sound corny, but so like bear with me. I have always, especially dealing with like my depression and the things that I've gone through, I've always thought about wanting to make the world a happier place, you know, or a healthier place. And I think for me, realizing that movement is such an incredibly powerful tool, and that if more people, like more individuals became healthy, that the world as a whole would become a healthier place. And so rather than taking on something that was impossible, I can't just look at the world and say how to make the world healthier. I can look at individuals and say, how do I help each individual person become a healthier version of themselves? And so that's really where becoming a trainer was my first love. And then recognizing inside of that, that as a trainer in this industry, I was serving such a small fraction of who deserved to become a happier, healthier version of themselves, which is everyone. Well, this 10% is already being served. And I like really started to realize that. And so my focus from an early, like I would say the first few years in training became, how do I get that 90% to start moving? And a big piece of that is meeting them where they're at, doing a better job of creating safe environments and programs that people feel like they can start their movement journey. And so ultimately, the Start Moving app is like 15 years in the making, just as much as Just Move is as well. Yeah.
What would you say have been the biggest learnings so far?
Creating Start Moving?
Yeah, just in Start. Like, I mean, I can think of a handful of things, but like, let's see what you think. Just like, what have you learned? I'm assuming you've learned a lot. Think of back when we created the first, what was it, Start Mobility or Start Strong? I forget which one. So you created the first program.
Yeah.
What one was it? Do you remember?
No.
Was it Start Mobility?
Maybe Start Mobility.
And like, then we created Start Strong, then Start Sweat. Like,
I mean, I think one of the biggest things is that there's a huge audience for this. I think like in some place inside of me knew that, but some places like also there's a huge audience for this. And you tend to think, not me, honestly. The fitness industry tends to think like this is like an elderly population, or these are people that, you know, like it's not. Like, I mean, it is part of that, but there are so many people my age, younger, older, that want to get started in their movement journey and want to be somewhere where they feel like they can safely start that. I think that's always been, that's surprising, but then also kind of like, I knew it. Like I knew that's where it was. What are some of your key takeaways that we've learned?
That it's really hard to communicate to these people.
Yes. Oof.
So like it's like my dad, my mom, like, you know, certain friends or family where I'm like, they come with this need and I'm like, I have the fix, do this. And they don't do it. Like, it's so weird. It's such a hard nut to crack because, and this was prior to the 5 minute. I think the 5 minute is going to be a game changer for people. But that has been a huge learning for me, is like how to communicate, like why does the message not come through as strong as we think it is?
Yeah. I mean, I also think this is the biggest nut to crack. Like, how do you get someone to care about themselves? Like, how do you get someone to value themselves, to take time out of their busy day, to want to do this thing that will help you feel better? It will. It is a guarantee. You know, without, maybe it's not instant gratification, but like, how do you do that? And I think that's the big unknown. Like, how you tap into that is the $1 billion question that hasn't really been figured out yet. You know, there's a lot that goes behind that. I'm like, we need therapy and movement all combined. You know, we need a lot of things.
Yeah. But I think sometimes too, it's like there's too much like that, and that slows people down of like, I just want to move. Now I got to like learn all this stuff. I have to like listen to all this stuff. I have to get set and get ready. That's what I love about, I'm really excited to see what happens with 5 minutes, because you don't have to have workout clothes on. You don't have to even own workout clothes. You don't need a water bottle. You literally need a chair. You can even just scoot up on the edge of your couch if you're already sitting on your couch and do it. And I think it's finding ways to just, like you've said, meet people where they're at. But the challenge often is like, commit, you know, here, you don't do anything, you're injured and you don't feel good in your body. Here's a month-long program. Yeah. It's just like, whoa, that's a lot. And I think that's been a big learning, is we think, oh, we have the answer. It's a month-long program for you, and it's affordable and all these things, and it's not too hard or whatever it is. But then it's like, no, that's actually not the answer.
No, it's not meeting them where they're at.
Yeah.
A lot of these people are not ready to commit to a month. Like, that's overwhelming. And I think a lot about people there's just certain people I think about when I think of start, like actually I think about these humans. And I'm like, the thought of that is overwhelming and will prevent them from starting. So like, how do you reduce that? You say 5 minutes, you say seated, you say, any part throughout your day, you say no other equipment besides a chair, which, hopefully, and you probably have in your home. Like, I think those are all like literally taking away the hurdles that would, prevent people from starting.
Yeah. Along these same lines, do you feel like there's any failures that you feel like, and maybe with start, since it's been start or maybe even pre-start, that you've had that you feel like you've learned from?
I mean, I think it's one big epic fail.
For sure.
Like, I'm not giving up on a failure. I think failing in this just means we haven't figured it out. Not that we don't have the right product. Like, I really believe in the product we have. I think we have failed to figure out how to get it out there, which is a challenge that I welcome. I think we failed by having it inside of Just Move. I think that was a fail, and we learned quickly from that one. And often I think sometimes that expecting people to start their wellness journey with movement might be a fail. I often think, I think about one human that's very close to me, and I think, if instead she started with like a greens drink every day and she built a habit around taking that, because that was the one thing she felt like she was doing for herself. And she started feeling a little bit more empowered in that. And like 2 months go by and then she decides like, maybe I'm ready for movement. I often think, is that not exactly the right starting place for people? Are we expecting too much that people are ready to start? Should I meet them somewhere else? I don't know. We're in a place of failure, and I'm excited to see how we step out of that and how we continue to learn from it.
Yeah. And I think it's almost like, as you were talking, I'm like, is failure actually could it just be interchangeable with learning?
Learning.
Right?
Absolutely.
Pretty much is. Because if you fail at something, you learn something in that moment. And because when you said we failed by having it in Just Move, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense if you replace it with learning, because there's a ton of people in Just Move who were the start community who started moving, right? And so it's like, but we can do it bigger. Yeah. We can get more people.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to get millions of people around the world moving. Like my goal from the very beginning of my career was to get the world to move. And if you're moving a little, I want you to move more. Like, that's always been my goal. And that's why I think the excitement of Start Moving is so big, because it's like, we talk about this a lot when we've talked about like some parts of our business podcast, but you have to have something that fuels you. Like, throughout all the failures and everything, like, what is that thing that keeps you going? Like, what's that ultimate goal? What's that ultimate like North Star? Like, what's driving all of this? Because for me, like, I don't want to let those people down. When I think of even the individuals that I know or the rest of the world, it's like, I don't want to let you down. I've got to figure this out. I'm not frustrated that you're not coming to me. I'm frustrated that I haven't figured out how to meet you where you're at. And that's really the goal. And honestly, I will probably be working at this until the day that I die, because getting the world to move is quite a lofty goal. And it's going to take lesson after lesson after lesson. Yeah.
And especially when you don't want to do it in the way that everybody else does it, specifically saying weight loss. It's like, how many people in the start category is the thing they're Googling is workouts for weight loss, or how do I lose weight? And we don't want to use that language. Like, that's not our goal. Yeah. And it's hard to break that, that pattern of thinking, is that like movement is for weight loss.
Yeah. I mean, and often I think is that like, would that be meeting them where they were at if I acknowledge that might be why they're starting? You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many thoughts about how we can do things differently and how we will do things differently and test things out. But like, ultimately, I'm really excited about the product we have. I'm really excited about the app that's launching. I think we've made movement so much more accessible, especially for that community. And then we'll just see what happens and see what we can learn from there.
Yeah. And so within Start, what are the different, there's, I guess I'm just thinking of like, there's yoga.
Yeah. So one of the things, and I haven't found the right word for this, but often the fitness industry looks at the start moving human as if there's like something wrong with them, right? Like, oh, you can't, and I don't know what the word is, but it's like, it just constantly gets dumbed down.
Yeah, kind of like belittling.
Yes. And it's like, that's not it. Like, why in every other part of your life, if you decide to start something, it's like congratulated and like, oh my God, you're so brave. Good for you. Way to go. But if you're starting your movement journey, you are belittled. Like, you're constantly talked down to. And so I think that was really something that's important for us inside of Start Moving is like anything is possible. You can do anything if you have the right starting point. So we have Start Dance, we have Start Yoga, we have Start Strength, we have Start Mobility, there's Start Cardio. Like, there's everything that you could want, and it's going to be ever growing. It's just in a very accessible way for you to start out in that style of movement. And just like Mike was saying, like, we do burpees. Like, we just, there's modifications to every single thing. And I think it's just thinking about how to correctly break those down so that someone can start out appropriately.
Yeah, it's not that you don't do these things.
Yeah.
You just do them differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you want to do them the other way eventually, that's fine too, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's like you're enough.
Yeah.
What you're doing is enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's a safe environment.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing too, like we've really created an environment where we've hopefully supported you enough with the style of movement that you're not afraid that you're going to get injured, or you're not feeling like you're too risky in these movements, because that's huge. Like, if you feel more comfortable and confident, like, you're going to move completely differently. You're going to feel completely differently. So that's really been a huge goal as well.
Yeah. Another learning I'm thinking of is how much you've had to be open to like feedback or what people are experiencing, because what you came with originally, there were certain movements, say, were like different body types. Specifically, like if you have a larger tummy, like you couldn't do, I think you did some sort of like hinge or something seated. And it was like, I remember you were just like, how did I not think of that? And so just like being super like vulnerable and humble here around it, like we're not doing it perfect. You know, but we're trying to learn to those kinds of things and having those
1,000%.
conversations.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's like it's always important for me to remember at the top of my list is to be creating the product for the people and like not for me. And I think that means that like constantly being open to feedback, constantly being willing to acknowledge that like I'm not going to do everything perfect. I'm just like trying. And the more that you can tell me to try in different directions and do different things, like the better that we're going to get. But yeah, totally. Like I think it's going to be constantly evolving as to I'm not doing stuff right. I mean, a big one that we've gotten is like, I'm in even just the way that I look, like I'm not motivating to a big population of people, and really having to acknowledge that like I might not be the best start instructor is like heartbreaking. But honestly, at the end of the day, if it means that more people would be motivated to move by, not having me as the head coach, then that's what's going to happen. Like, I think that's why it's always important for especially like business owners to like remember what the goal is. Like, what is the ultimate goal? Because if you always know what the ultimate goal is, then you're willing to do, almost anything necessary to get there. Yeah. Even if it means less of you. Yeah, honestly, I remember when that was brought up and I was like, what? Like, I am the start coach. And then, it's been the start level, although it wasn't named back in the day, was my baby. Like, that is who I loved coaching. I loved taking, and a lot of like the women who are like, I can't move, I can't do anything, I'm not a mover. And I loved turning that around on them. And I loved setting up an environment for them to like learn about their body and become empowered and become badass. And like, that's what I'm so passionate about. And so to think that like I want to build this whole thing, without me really like leading it from the front was really hard to handle. And then I had to realize like, well, this isn't about me. So, and you can lead from the back. So yeah, totally. It's quite all right. It's also, it's so challenging to learn like filming video it can take so much longer to learn things than when you're teaching people in person. If you had a group of 5 people, you're getting instant feedback and you adjust, like they don't even know that you're changing anything because you're just literally watching. They don't even have to say anything. You're just like, oh yeah, why didn't I think of that? And next we're going to actually switch this up to do this. Boom, done. Everyone leaves going like, wow, she just like
even things I didn't think I could do, I was doing, blah, 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 because you're on the fly reacting. Whereas when we're shooting video content, you don't get to know, like the production, the time that goes into film it, blah, 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 edit it, get it out to the world. Then you get the feedback and it's like, oh my God.
Yes. And this brings up another thing about challenges. Finding start coaches is challenging because ultimately the human being that can break something down to the simplest language and format is somebody who understands that so well. And I don't mean to sound big-headed here, but like you have to know what you're talking about to be able to break it down to the simplest level, to be able to use a bunch of different languages to like explain what you're trying to convey. Like that takes a really intelligent and like experienced coach, and often like that's hard to find.
Yeah,
it has been.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you want to coach, like you want to coach in each of the categories that like start movers are in, even, or like at least gone through, like pain for one. Like, you know, someone in a perfect world, you'd have someone with like, you know, experiencing some sort of pain, teaching the pain classes. So it's like, if you're like me, you know, and your shoulders and your blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Because then it's so much more relatable and they know exactly where you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know that there's going to be more challenges that are going to be coming up and I welcome them. Like, I feel like that means we're growing and evolving. And I constantly think it's like wild to think that this idea is 15 years old, but this is a baby. Like this is an infant. And I'm so excited for it to be out in the world in a bigger way. I'm excited for the challenge of how to get it in front of the right people. And a major learning lesson, not to assume that they're out even looking for it. You know what I mean? Like, how do I get in front of people that this product is for without them even looking for it? Yeah. I think these are all big challenges.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What are the challenges of running two businesses essentially that speak to two very different people? Like how do you manage that? I mean,
I'm in it right now. It is a challenge. I don't necessarily know whether or not it's sustainable forever. I think it's often something that I think about. Being organized with my time has become something that's like far more important now and obvious, because when you're switching between the two, essentially Start Moving and Just Move are two different audiences. So it takes like two different sides of my brain to flip back and forth. The one thing that's very, very difficult for me is that a lot of our advertising happens on KaisaFit, my social platform. And the reality is it's nearly impossible to go back and forth between the two. I am a Just Mover personally. Like that is not just that I co-founded that platform, but like I am a Just Move human being. I do the Just Move programs. I am not somebody who is doing Start Moving. And so it's hard to flip-flop between the two. And then I think as a business, like you just have to get really organized. We've started to separate the teams, like, you know, you and Taylor, like we have teams that are on Just Move and we're going to build out teams that are on Start Moving. It also means that I don't get to do everything. I think like this injury right now that I'm dealing with has taught me a lot about, I've always wanted to be behind the scenes, you know, running the company and being able to be the creative and vision of like where we're going and what we're doing. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to be in front of the camera 24/7. Like there's a lot, you can't do everything. And there's a lot of things that have to be shifted around for the priorities of that season or that time.
Yeah. Always learning.
Always learning. Expert student, as Craig calls me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're starting. Just like everyone else out there. It's always a good place to start.
Yeah. I know. I was just having a conversation with someone and he was like, I was telling you, like part of the mantra is, and you're evolving. Like, I think that's like my constant thing now. It's like, it's not that I can't handle this. It's not that I don't have the tools. It's not that I don't know. It's just that I'm evolving to the next thing. And it requires a lot because technically I'm running 3 companies because I have KaisaFit, which is all of my social, which is a full company. So there's a lot and I love it. I constantly am reminded of when I was young, like this is what I wanted to do. Like I literally told my parents I couldn't wait to walk to an office, you know, with my briefcase and my nice outfit on and like sit in my office. Like these are big goals and dreams that are coming true. And I think like those moments of reflection are important because they continue to fuel the journey in the hard times.
Yeah, I forget who, and I think many people have said this in different ways, but it's like taking that moment to pause because most likely most of us right now are where we wanted to be 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's so easy that needle or that goal or whatever just constantly moves as you move.
Yeah.
But it's so important to like pause and just go, okay, if I were to tell if I were to go visit my 5 year ago self and go, hey, what's up? Just want to give you a quick update on what's going on in 5 years. You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Are you serious? Those are the problems? Yeah. Oh my God, those are great problems.
Yeah.
And not always, obviously there could be some catastrophic shit that you're not excited about for, 5 years from now. But in general, it's like, it's hard to lose sight of like how far you've come.
Yeah, or it's easy to lose sight of how far you've come. Yeah, and I think also the corny saying of like, it's really about the journey and not the destination is something that I have been trying to work on for a while, because every time I set a goal and reached that goal, I had no feeling. Like it didn't mean anything to me. And so it was so frustrating that I was constantly setting myself up to reach these goals. And then when I reached the goal, I wasn't happy, I wasn't proud, I wasn't anything. And so my goal these days is to be really present about the journey and to like find some type of enjoyment about being in the journey and the struggle, and like knowing that this is life. Like life will not start when I've reached, when like, just move and start moving are successful. That's not when life starts. Like life is happening now. And then for that to know, it gets me to be able to be in a place where I can acknowledge that it's just a constant evolution of me and of the world around me.
Yeah.
And then just be okay with that.
Yeah. And totally. I love that, because that's totally, being a parent, that's never been more in my face of you're constantly just like, oh, and when this happens, when they start school or when they get this age, or just get through the holiday or just get to the next thing, and you're just like, oh no, it's just new problems always. Like you solve those old ones and new ones pop up. And when you can kind of just let go and actually embrace for the next set of unknown problems that are going to like, just be ready for it. Be like, yeah, we know that these are going to come up. We know there's going to be hard things that are going to happen. And it's not about just getting to this point and everything's all good.
Yeah. But also when you're constantly looking for that, you're not in the present. You're not even living.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something I've done almost my whole life. Like it's wild. And I'm proud of like where I've gotten, but it's wild to think that I don't remember and like don't feel like I had experienced a lot, because I thought my life wasn't going to start until X, Y, and Z happened. And so like for me, it is a constant practice of like how you're living today. What you're doing today is life. This is your life. Mm-hmm. I know it's grim, but I often ask myself, like, if you were to die tomorrow, would you be doing anything different? Would you be doing it the same? Like, and that's really how I live my life now. And if there was something that I'd add, I fucking add it in today, or I at least add the thought or the effort towards that today, because, well, one, you never know, but two, like I am in life. I am living right now. So yeah.
It's weird as you get older too, because it's kind of that mindset that you have as like a kid. Like once I get to this age, you're thinking, oh, I'll just have that all figured out and blah, blah, blah. And I've been really having these moments lately where I'm like, oh, I'm almost 40 and I'm still like literally in the same mindset I was when I was like 19, and I'm like, Mike, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's no more. Yeah. The destination is here. Like you're in it, you know? So it's interesting.
No, those are like big life lessons that I'm like working on right now. And then I think it's like the small little bite-sized piece of it, of like the daily reminder of the things that I can do to kind of like keep myself present.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if there's something that I want to change or add or what, like that's been for the past like 2 years, I think that's been a really important thing for me. Like if I feel like I need to, a big one for me right now, if I feel like I need to be, a little bit smarter in business, I'm not fucking waiting till the moment that like fairy godmother plops in my head. I'm like, I'm reading this, I'm possibly taking a course. I'm like, I am doing all the things. So if I was on my deathbed and somebody said like, what else would you add or what else would you have done? I'd be like, I at least tried to put in effort to do all those things.
Yeah. How does this relate to start?
Oh, no, sorry.
I
went on a tangent.
I was just curious if you had a good...
Now.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's just like...
Start living.
Exactly, yeah. Like the time is now. And the point, I think, going back to start, is that it doesn't take a month long. It doesn't take... Like, again, you don't need anything except to just start, like to just do it. And I think that's...
Amen. And actually it gets to the point of the goal is for you to start and continue, but not to get to some end point with Start Moving. Like that's really the thing. Like the goal for us with Start Moving and what I would suggest for those that are in that space is just to start and then continue restarting every single day. And like that's really your goal. Like you're not doing this thinking that there's some like end, pinnacle like thing that you've achieved. It's literally just that's one other thing that you've added, and you are literally a healthier human being because you have added it. Movement is medicine. It is proven. We can send all the facts, but like your goal is just to start that and to stay with that. And you don't have to think about where you're going. Just like be present, make that choice every single day.
Yeah. This is just because I like little slogans as you were talking. This might be not a good one. I don't know, but start moving, stay living.
I almost spit out my water team. I didn't know where he was going with that.
I
like it.
Yeah. But I do think maybe that's not the perfect one, but there is something to be said that it's kind of in the same vein of diets. It's not like do this diet that for 30 days and lose this weight. And it's like, and then what? Like, what do I do now? That was a manageable month-long thing maybe, but I can't do that for the rest of my life, know? So Start Moving is like, it's a sustainable approach to fitness. It's finding ways to move in different ways to move at different times of the day, in different activities. And like, how do you just create movement, like you're saying, with no end goal in mind? It's just to stay moving.
Yeah, because there's certain things. How does it fall in line with certain things that you do because you just fucking know you need to, like brush your teeth and take a shower and eat breakfast? Like these are all things that you need to do. Why? Because someone, told you needed to? Like,
yeah, but that's here. To bring it back to a long time ago podcast, the Apple Watch. I will say not everyone works like this, but if anything has changed for me, I like to close my rings, and this doesn't know what my exercise was. It could be swinging kettlebells for an hour, or it could be taking a walk or playing with River in the backyard. And my goal, I like this little accountability. And I wonder if that comes into a play with people or something, and start that there's some sort of way to sort of just give them that little nudge, and anything is enough. It's just something to stay accountable to. But like, I don't know, movement, you're rolling your eyes, but like.
Not rolling my eyes, I'm squinting. I personally don't think that's the right direction for people who haven't. A lot of that stuff is already there and it hasn't worked for them. So I think like that the thought process has to change as to why you're doing that thing. Like if I was to really say, why do you brush your teeth? Because you don't want cavities. Like, how did you get into that habit? That takes 3 minutes to brush your teeth every day. Why do you wash your face? Why do you eat dinner at night? Like, these are those things. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Movement. This is a necessity. You have to move your body. You have to move your body.
Yeah, no, totally. I guess what I'm saying is like having that. You were saying, where does that come from? And it's like, I guess from people. Like, how do you give people the accountability, or how do you hammer in that you do have to? Like, how do you get that message out?
Yeah, but we don't have to have an argument here, but we're seeing it differently, because you don't brush your teeth because it closes a ring on your Apple Watch. You don't take a shower because it closes a ring on your Apple Watch. You get no external validation from, no clap from brushing your teeth or washing your face, or I don't know. Those are just things I'm thinking about, but like, those are just things that you have to do.
Yeah.
So how do we put that into everyone's lives?
So I think you have to teach them. And that's
exactly.
But so what I'm saying is that like that might be a helpful teacher. For me, it was a helpful teacher to go, I don't have to do a certain workout. I just have to move. So walking for me, or like mobility for me, it's changed my approach to what's enough, I guess is the point. And because I think of like my dad, or the conversations that I've had with people who I think are in the start category, their thing is always they're not doing enough. Or even like my aunt is like definitely in the start category, and she's trying to get like 8,000 steps all the time. And then she feels like a failure if she doesn't get 8,000 steps. Like, Auntie, that's a lot of steps. Like, that's a lot of steps to go from like not moving that much to then the bar is set so high. So like, how do you give a message that like the 5 minutes, if someone did 5 minutes a day, that's enough, right? Like
yeah, but that's where it's like difficult for me to understand that's no ring is closed on 5 minutes. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, how do you put something into your day as a habit and a practice, and how do you value it? Not from, like, how do you get internal motivation to just do that thing because it's something that you have to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that is a closing ring or whatever, but like, to me, that just doesn't seem like the thing. Like, how do you just know this is just something that you're doing for yourself and you're adding? Like, you can graduate to whatever you want, but I just don't think that's the exact starting point.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes is enough. If that is what you can start with, 5 minutes is better than nothing. 1 minute is better than nothing. You are creating a habit. I'd rather have you create a habit and an awareness of adding that into your routine than to think that that's not enough and you might as well not do it. 5 minutes every single day adds up.
No, for
It's
sure.
a lot of minutes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm in 100% agreement there.
Yes.
Sometimes
Sometimes you look through me, so I don't know if you're looking.
No, I know. You just hate technology stuff. But you can't set 5 minutes as your goal. Yeah. I'm saying you can set a goal.
I just think it's another barrier.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you because I think also like there are a lot of people that are motivated by tech. I'm just saying it can't just be that because everyone could buy a Fitbit, you know, or I mean, it cost comes into things, but like you could buy a Fitbit if that was really the thing, you know, like you could get it, you know, an Apple, you could do those things and it's still not working. So what is that language and like what is that communication that needs to be changed? Or often I think about like who are, you know, the population of people that are not moving right now, who would they be motivated if their doctor said you need to move, otherwise you're on the trajectory of like an early death? Like, is that what's going to motivate them? Are you motivated to stay with something if your employer gives you like a financial discount or a financial reward? Like, what does motivate people? And that becomes a whole different conversation. So yeah. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
Yeah. But we're gonna try to find out.
Keep digging away at that Mount Everest. Figure it out. Absolutely. No, we will continue to work to figure it out for as long as we can.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It feels like I really like interviewed you today. It feels different.
Yeah, I like that.
Kaisa, thanks for coming on the show today. So where can people find you?
People can find me at KaisaFit.com, but more importantly, you can find me on Just Move or Start Moving. How
do you find someone on Start Moving? Where do they go?
StartMoving.com.
Okay.
Yes, which soon will be an amazing app. So definitely stay tuned.
By the time this comes out, it might be out.
Yeah. And one of the really cool things about Start Moving is, again, that goes in line with us creating no boundaries to get in. We're going to have a huge free section. So there's really like, you don't need anything, no special equipment. You just literally have to log in. You don't even have to put your money down.
Yeah.
You can move for free.
There's free movement.
Yeah. Start your movement journey.
To get you started.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks for interviewing me.
Hey, thanks for begrudgingly letting me.
No, I like being interviewed. Team, thank you so much for joining us here today. If you do have any questions or comments, especially regarding Start Moving or anything else, remember to go to KaisaFit.com/ask, and we will be able to answer those questions on another podcast. But again, thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you back on the Kaisa Show very soon.